everyone, my name is Sheila Aula. Welcome to our webinar this evening, your roadmap to residency. I'm the Senior Residency Specialist here at Residence Medical, and it's my pleasure to be here with you all tonight. We are coming to you live from Los Angeles here in California, and I'm joined by three amazing physicians who have been a part of our organization this year and who have all successfully matched. We have Dr. Yera, who has matched this year through the main match. We have Dr. Elzukaki, who pre-matched, and Dr. Chai, who post-matched as well. They will be joining us shortly to share a little bit about their journeys and a little bit about their struggles as well, and kind of go into more detail about that. Before we start, I wanted to talk to you all about what you can do as far as moving forward for the 2022 match and discuss a little bit about the 2021 match and what occurred. So as many of you know, and probably some of you are a part of this group, there were over 5,000 applicants of IMGs and FMGs who did not match despite the shortage of physicians and despite the pandemic. So it's obviously been a struggle, and I'm sure many of you are frustrated, but I'm here to talk to you about what you can do to stay relevant and make sure that you have a plan to move forward and be successful this next cycle. I would like to obviously speak to some of you and hear what your questions are towards the end of the webinar. So there is a section where you can input questions for me or for any of the doctors who are joining us this evening on our panel, and we will be answering those questions throughout the webinar, but a little bit probably closer towards the end. But I wanted to stress the importance about preparing for this next ERA cycle and what you can do to stay relevant and improve your resumes and your applications. So many of you, I'm sure, have been looking for clinical opportunities, and this past year with the pandemic, it was very difficult to get actual hands-on experience. I'm sure many of you did telerotations, but there are opportunities for actual hands-on experience within ACG and the accredited teaching hospitals, which is the best way for you to gain experience and have clinical exposure within a teaching hospital setting, which is ideal and what program directors are actually looking for on your application. Going into outpatient, inpatient settings is okay, but ideally you want to be in a teaching hospital. So we definitely have opportunities for that, and that has been very helpful to a lot of our past applicants and candidates who we have successfully helped match. Another way for you to stay relevant is through research. Research is a great way to integrate into a program and to spend time with a primary investigator, with other residents, with program directors, and the people who you need to be seen and build relationships with. So what I would like to do is kind of move forward to introduce one of the doctors who's on our panel today, Dr. Yera, who will tell you a little bit about his journey, but I will tell you a little bit about it prior to him sharing with you. He actually came to us several years ago and came on as a placement candidate. We were able to successfully help him into a research fellowship where he did very well. He ended up matching as well in the New York State, and he will tell you a little bit more about that journey and also a little bit about his struggles as well. So Dr. Yera, if you could please join us now, that would be great. So I think your audio, Dr. Yera, if we could turn that on, please. Just 1 second.
Hi.
1 moment. I think there you go. Thank you, Dr. Yera.
Sorry about that.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Dr. Yera.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So yeah, a little bit about myself. I matched into PMNR, which is physical medicine and rehabilitation, and it's a highly competitive residency. To give you some idea, I matched into an advanced position, into a PGY2 position. I already completed my PGY1. Out of the 800 candidates that matched into PMNR, only 20 or 24 were actually foreign medical graduates. And yes, I mean, residence medical certainly showed me the path to get into the research fellowship and eventually match into the residency. Yeah.
So Dr. Yera, could you share a little bit about maybe your step scores and kind of what your journey was like prior to working with residence medical?
So I went through a lot, as I'm sure many people do. I completed my medical school in 2011, and I eventually came to United States after completing my step 1 and step 2 in 2013. And since then, I've been trying every year to get into residency, at least a categorical one. Initially, I started with pediatrics. I did 6 months of pediatric rotations. I did 1 year of emergency medicine research, tried getting into emergency medicine, could not. Then I did another year of research in anesthesia, tried getting into anesthesia. I could not. Then I got into prelim surgical position, which wasn't through residence medical, but I applied for advanced positions and categorical positions when I was doing my prelim surgery. I could not match that year also. Then I came to residence medical after literally exhausting and trying every other option. I came to residence medical at that point, and they suggested me going into PMNR because I like doing interventional pain, and the only two pathways that exist for interventional pain are anesthesia and PMNR. And they showed me the path. I mean, they offered me a research fellowship here, and I joined that, and I think I did pretty well. I worked hard, and eventually matched into advanced spot in PMNR. And my step 1 score, to give you some idea about, as I told you in the beginning, there are very few people who actually match into PMNR, and with my scores, I'm sure there would be no one else. My score was, step 1 was 189. Step 2 CS, I passed on the second attempt. Step 2 CK was 213. Step 3 was 194. So 2 of those steps I passed by 1 digit.
So Dr. Yera, I think another issue was also your visa sponsorship, correct?
Oh, yes, yes.
So
I mean,
I think you were lucky enough to end up in a research fellowship where they did sponsor your H-1B visa, which was a great way for you to stay, obviously, here in the country and to work within a program and to integrate like we've been talking about. And can you share a little bit about what it was like doing research and what your experience was within the program?
yes, getting into a research position with a H-1B visa is really hard. Even if you are an MPH or a PhD, they usually give you a J1 visa. So I got a H-1B visa, which was very fortunate because it makes my life a lot easier. And that working here has been great. I work directly with the chair. I work directly with several attendings here. I direct many of the residents' research over here. So it really depends on where you are at in your research experience and your research knowledge. They kind of groom you according to your knowledge. And the chair is someone who is really invested in research. So you will be having weekly meetings one-on-one with him for like an hour where you sit and talk about research, life, and everything else. And there are several attendings who you will have to work with. So in my past research positions, if I went to a research place, I'm usually working with one attending or some head of research, and I'm surrounded by research coordinators who are non-medical people who are doing normal medical jobs. Here, it's just you. So you are directly involved in whatever research project is coming to the department, whether it's a sponsored project, it's a non-sponsored project. And the chair is a very, how to put it, he likes educating people. So he kind of guides you. He has a patience for it, and he literally sets aside every Friday afternoon just for the research fellows.
It sounds like a very mentoring environment, and we're very proud of you for persevering and not giving up and continuing to move towards your goals and your dreams to become a board certified physician here in the US. and you clearly proved yourself during that fellowship, and you were able to match into that same program, and now you'll be moving into residency this July. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Is there anything you'd like to share to I'm sure many people who are listening right now, about any advice about moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, if you did not match this year, this is what I realized just before joining residence medical. I think I relied on a lot of contacts, a lot of friends. I have family here who are actual attendings, like immediate family. I tried doing observerships. I got into surgical preliminary year. I did very well in that too. So I had the research backing. I had actual clinical experience, and my only takeaway was, I mean, A, you need a visa, so you need to be better than an American medical grad. B is that my scores are not good enough without some kind of system to get me in. That is what I understood. So let's say if there is a residency program which has been, picking residents for the last 20 years, it has a cutoff of 210 step 1 score. It is not going to change that for you unless they have a system to get a unique candidate with low scores in. So working within the systems is one of the important things in the United States. And if you are unmatched, and this was the second thing that I realized, if you are unmatched, you pretty much know why you did not match. It's either going to be low scores, it's either going to be lack of clinical knowledge, or I don't know, lack of rotations. So it's pretty objective. I mean, you know what's happening. And if you feel like residence medical is going to solve that problem for you, you should join. I can tell you this, whatever position that you go, you have to work hard. Residence medical will show you a path, but it is up, you will have to put in your work.
That's absolutely correct.
You are muted now. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that, technical difficulties, but what I was saying is thank you so much for sharing that very candid information with everyone. And it's absolutely correct that spending time and integrating out of program is pretty much essential if you want to make any difference in your application or in your chances. And you obviously went into your program and
I have to drive one more.
sure.
Previously, you had to work in the system that exists. So here where I'm at, there were 6 research fellows in the last 7 years. Out of those 6, people matched, and one simply did not match because he wasn't that good.
So, like you said, we open the doors for candidates to go in, and we give them a pathway, we give them education, we give them tools. But at the end of the day, it's definitely up to you guys to go in and to do the work, to execute and to prove yourself. And you obviously did that. And like I said, we're very proud of you. And thank you so much for sharing your story and being a part of this panel. And we wish you the best of luck in residency. And we're going to be keeping up with you. And hopefully we will have someone else joining where you are soon to do research, and will be sitting in your seat next year.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Dr. Yar. So next, I would like to invite Dr. El-Zukaki to join our panel here to discuss a little bit about his journey and his struggles as well. So Dr. El-Zukaki. Hello, there you go. Hi, Dr. Ospaki.
Hello, Sheila. Hello, everyone. Nice meeting you all. I was just listening to Dr. Yera, and I share a lot of very similar experience to his, or a lot of points are common between us. I'm also a graduate of 2011, and I graduated. I'm graduated Cairo Medical School, and came here after doing some residency there. Came here in 2014, did my my steps, and finished everything almost at 2014. Then started doing some observerships and some clinical experience. I was going for psych residency here. I ended up doing observerships in psych and in family medicine and some internal medicine also. After that, tried the match a couple of times, was not successful. Ended up, I didn't know what to do next. I went into research and have been in research since then. But also the thing is also you could get stuck in research and could not find a way forward. And this is where I think resident medical helped me. My scores in USMLE are not very high. I have an attempt in CK. My scores are in the 210s, and I have an attempt. And these are things you cannot fix. These are things in your past. So it's always like when you're stuck in that situation, you think, what can I do to move forward? And I had some clinical experience. I was doing research, and there was nothing more that I could do, or I felt that there was no path forward until resident medical helped me get connected to people in research who are very close to residences and residents and attendings. So it's also my experience is that there's two kind of paths in research, one that could get you stuck and one that could get you to meet the people who have a hand that can help you. And this is what resident medical basically. I was working in Northwestern with a very big name in research, and he helped me a lot. He recommended me very highly. Also, when people see you personally and know how much you are willing to give to work, they could really bypass any setbacks set by residency programs. As Dr. Yara was saying, if there is any cutoff point or any problem in the scores or anything like that, if you work with someone and who really likes you and knows your work ethic, knows how much you're willing to give, and knows your qualities, they are willing to recommend you beyond the limits of what a program could accept on paper. And this is what happened to me. And my PI really likes me so much. He's kind of sad that I'm leaving him and going to a residency right now, but he was really recommending me wholeheartedly. And also like resident medical helped me in getting a rotation in a hospital that both has residencies that I could work with the attendings and people making the choice of who to attend residency, and this is something very important. So they see me up close and personal, and when I apply, they really know me. They don't really need an interview. And the other thing is also it is a place that really wanted people who had a background in research. I know that because other residents who matched also were very heavy on research. So they liked my resume in research, and they saw me during the rotation, and it was very smooth sailing from there. And then I pre-matched.
Yes, which is almost nearly impossible in psychiatry. You know, you received a pre-match, which is amazing, and you really worked hard in your research, right? And you had a prestigious mentor who really worked hard to advocate for you wherever else we were able to send you, right? And like you mentioned, the clinical component is also very much a big reason why we had to make sure that you had somewhere else to go because of the year of graduation, right? So program directors are looking to see recent clinical experience. Something more than 2 to 3 years out is not relevant. So having research and having clinical are two very important components to having a strong application. And you were really able to do both well. And with Residence Medical Health, we obviously were able to help you facilitate a pre-match in psychiatry, which we're obviously very proud of you for doing. And I know you have a newborn son and you have an amazing career ahead of you and life, and we're very proud of you. And is there anything you would kind of like to share to anyone who's interested in psychiatry who's listening, or anyone who's also an older graduate like yourself?
Well, yeah, thank you. And yeah, my son is the joy of my life now, and this is a very lucky year for me. I both matched and had a son. And yeah, for people who are going to psychiatry, I wanted psychiatry from day one in medical school, and I was applying for psychiatry, and the people in psychiatry like to feel that you are fully invested in psychiatry. And the research I went in was all psychiatry, and it was and this is what residency programs like to see, and they like to feel that you're fully invested in psychiatry, because psychiatry is kind of a special specialty. It's a lot like different than a lot of other specialties. So if you don't have the mindset for it, it's impossible to fake it. So yeah, so we could be fully invested. Try to get rotations in psychiatry. Try to get research in psychiatry, and if you show your passion and show your hard work, you will get in for sure eventually.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ozakaki, and we wish you and your family the best of luck in your future. And like I said, we will also be staying in contact with you and making sure that everything runs smoothly. And I will go ahead and switch over to Dr. Thank you, Dr. Chai, who will be joining us now as our last panelist. Just one moment here. Hello, Dr. Chai.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to have you with us this evening. And Dr. Chai has just post-matched into a university program just, I think, a week or two ago, right? So we're obviously very happy for you and would love for you to share a little bit about your journey so far and how you were able to achieve such an amazing goal.
My name is Sumo Chai. I'm originally from South Korea. My biggest challenge is speaking in English. So I did my undergraduate at UCLA, but during the UCLA, I just studied and turning to my paper and took the exam. That's it. But medicine is different. Medicine is to interact with the patient, and language, speaking in English in proper way is very important. But I was struggling in English part, and my score step one was 223. My step 2 score is a 211. Step 3 is a 200. But I failed the CS. That was my biggest challenging and to match the program. And I tried 3 times before I joined the medical resident. I found a research position in Pennsylvania in community-based hospital, and it was my first experience as the research field. But it really broadened my insight in medicine. I didn't know about the research field before I joined this position, but through the whole this 1 year, I had a really good experience, and thankfully I could match it to the university program in the internal medicine. Do you have any question?
Thank you, Dr. Chai. So I know you mentioned a little bit about your scores and how you had an attempt on CS, and I'm sure the barrier with English was part of the reason why you had difficulty with the CS exam. And also another component is the visa, right? Because you required visa sponsorship as well.
Oh
Correct?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I need a visa support. So with my score, it is really hard to get into the program with the visa supporting. So I was like really close to giving up to become a doctor, but I thank God I got found the residence medical, and I got the the
So, I remember actually last year when the pandemic was full force, and despite that, we were still able to help you come from South Korea during the travel ban and helped you get an H-1B research fellowship, right? Which was almost impossible, but we made it happen, and you ended up here in the US. You went into your research fellowship and you learned and you integrated and you did a great job there, right? We got good evaluations, and you were able to successfully go into a post-match interview for internal medicine, which is the field that you are passionate about. And you did well, and you ended up matching into a university program, which is amazing because there's so many opportunities for fellowships and moving on thereafter. And like I said, we're very proud of each and every one of you and all of our candidates who go in and kind of execute and make us proud by being superstars, right? So is there anything you'd like to share with the listeners today about your journey, about the struggles, about moving forward?
Yes. First of all, I came here at the beginning of the pandemic, and as she already mentioned, it was really difficult to get the new visa. But I successfully got the H1 visa as a research fellow, and as a research fellow, 1 year as a research fellow was a really good experience because I never had any. I never expected to get this research position without any help. But through this experience, I learned a lot about the research, and I think that will gonna help me to success in residency program in internal medicine too. And I didn't really expect it to get matched to university program, but I did. And so yeah, that was a really good experience.
One other thing I wanted to kind of discuss is, I remember we also helped you with a little bit of speech pathology, right? Because as you mentioned, English was a bit of a struggle. So how did you feel? I can see an improvement from my side as far as your communication. How did you feel about the speech pathology?
Yeah, that's my biggest challenge. Was I'm kind of shy, so I really hesitate to speak. But through this experience, I had to speak, and also I got some help from a speech therapist, and I changed my accent, and I changed my character a little bit, so more outgoing, and yeah. And to be honest, 2 weeks ago, I had a research contest in this hospital institution, and I won the first place in poster, and fourth place in oral presentation. So it was really good experience for me in my perspective, because it's not just 1 year waiting for match, but I had a lot like opportunity that I never got by myself. So I think, but I know it's like it's a lot of money you have to invest, but it's really depends on how you think about time is the most important thing. And if you can get this opportunity and you can grow this experience, that is worth it to invest to yourself. That's my point.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on the poster presentation and the oral presentation. We're so proud of you for that. And like you said, yes, our program is education. It is an investment financially, but it's an investment in your future. So you definitely have to look at it in the long-term perspective as investing in yourself and your career for the rest of your life, right? So what you put in now, you'll be getting back tenfold for the next 30 years of your medical career. So Thank you, Dr. Chai, so much for joining us this evening. I know you just got back in, and I appreciate you joining us and sharing your journey and your experience and also your struggles. And we really look forward to hearing about you doing well in your ITE, hopefully going into a fellowship, and hopefully mentoring some of our future candidates.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to move on to answering some of your questions. I know there's a lot of you there, so we're going to get to as many as we can before we run out of time. So I will go ahead and answer some of them. So this question is, how many research articles one should have in their CV to be at an upper hand while applying for a match? So I think I can answer that if that's okay with you guys. I don't think it's so much about how many articles you have. Having 10 articles versus having 5 is not going to make a difference. It's more about what you're doing while you're in the program, right? So you can have, obviously doing something, publishing is great. You should be aiming for that. You should be aiming for poster presentations and oral presentations. But just because you do that does not mean that you're going to match or that's going to get your application through a filtering system, right? So if you still have low scores, failed attempts, and things like that, the way it works is that when you apply for programs through ARIS, they never get to see your actual application. So if you have 5 articles versus 10, that really doesn't matter because they're not going to see it. So unless you're in a program where they're actually going to consider you for residency, that is the best way for you to gain the opportunity to be considered. And we'll move to the next question. Due to the pandemic, electives are not available, neither is a visa. So how can we attain LORs? Students in final year of med school cannot get electives after graduation. That's very true. And despite the issues of being able to come across actual hands-on experience, we at Residence Medical definitely have opportunities within ACG and me accredited teaching hospitals where you can work clinically where it's an insured hands-on externship where you can gain an LOR as long as you've done well and you've proven yourself and you've earned it. So we do have those opportunities for medical students and for medical graduates currently. I'll go to the next question. How do we get paid in the research fellowship year? So if you are working as a research fellow and your visa is sponsored, you definitely do get the appropriate salary along with that visa, whether it's an H-1B or J visa. There are salary requirements that vary state by state, which you will receive while you are doing your research fellowship. The next question I see is, does year of graduation matter? Dr. Elzakaki, I'll let you answer that question.
Well, it matters definitely. Like fresh graduates appear more desirable to programs, but being an old graduate like myself does not it does not rule you out. So it's the totality of your CV. So there are a lot of things in your CV that you could justify why you have like how the fact that you are an old graduate, that you've been doing things that are valuable to your career. You can show a lot of things that you've been doing that are valuable to your career that made you a better candidate for the program and more desirable candidate. So while yes, a fresh graduate is the more desirable, still the experience you have during this time could more than make up for this lost time to the program and the program director.
Thank you for that, Dr. Elzakaki. And just to add on to that, year of graduation, I had a candidate this year who was a 1996 graduate who had just come here to the US, and we were able to help her. We put her into an unaccredited PGY1 where she passed her step 3 while she was there. She took the ITE, she did well, and she ended up matching into a categorical internal medicine residency as a 1996 graduate. So nothing is impossible is what I want to share with you, but we can kind of move on to the next question. What is the average time you need with Residence Medical to match in residency? So that's a good question. And that's one that I can say will vary dependent on your profile and basically how you perform in the program where you have been placed, right? Some people are lucky enough to where they are with us for 3 to 6 months. Some people spend 1 year. It really depends on the situation, the time of the year, and your profile. But that's kind of the answer for that. So next question is, do we have to publish our researches as well? Because I did research but could not publish it. Dr. Elzagabi, do you want to answer that?
I'm not sure I understand the question. They did research, but they did not publish. Is the question?
Yeah, they're saying that do they have to publish their research because they did research, but they could not publish it. So,
still you could put that in your CV. You could talk. You could put what you did in your CV, even if it's not published. You could, if it's like a work in progress, you could say that in your CV, and you can talk about it in the interview, and you could always apply for whatever position and still have a lot to show. So the fact that it's not published does not mean that you did not do valuable work and you have valuable experience. So you can still try to show that experience somehow, whether putting it on your CV or talking about it to people.
thank you. One of the questions that I have here is, can you please shine some light on the upcoming changes to the USMLEs in the future? So many of you probably know that starting January 2022, the step 1 will become a pass or fail, and therefore the CK score will be the only 3-digit number that programs will be able to see in the future, which means that your CK score is going to become even more important with your profile, right? So, and many of you know, obviously the CS exam has also been canceled, and there is the OET, which is along with the 6 pathways that there are to fulfill that requirement. So those are the changes that are coming with the USMLEs. Sure. So what is the post-match success rate? So Dr. Shai, you can answer that. You are the proof of that. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, to be honest, post-match is only mostly for American graduate. So like me, like a foreign graduate, have really low chance. And I don't know what is the match rate, but it's really really slight and very low. But so without like any connection or some like a good recommendation, and after like a huge difference after your application, the chances are very low. But
Thank you. The next question is, are we given options to choose the hospital for research fellowship and future residency, or it's decided by Residence Medical? So in order to qualify for any of our programs, you do have to go through a process where you will interview and talk to some of our team members here, and basically based off of your profile and your credentials, we come up with strategic pathways for each individual so we can best fit you to a program where you're going to fit the culture, right? So we want to make sure that we select a program where you're going to do well and you fit the criteria. So Residence Medical, yes, does suggest which program would be best for you. Sometimes there may be more than one option, but ideally you're coming to us for the assistance, for the consulting. So we are the ones here to guide you and to help you navigate that pathway in that system. And I'll take another question. How much financial investment is required to get Residence Medical's help? So we have a variety of different packages that range from a few $1,000s up into higher numbers. It really depends on what you're looking for, but I'm more than happy to speak to any of you who are interested, myself or Dr. Dane, who's here in the office, who's also one of our senior residency specialists, can speak to you about your profile and what would be best fit for you, and we can customize and individualize things for you based off of your needs. And I think we'll take one more question because we're kind of running out of time here. I think I answered. Yes. Okay, well, I'll take this one last question there. What's the probability, I'm sorry. So the question says how to deal with exhaustion. Step 1, step 2, step 3, researches, interviews, etc. That is a lot. That is a lot. So can Dr. Elzakaki,
I did not start residency yet, but I believe the residency schedules from all my friends and all the people I know who are in residency, residency schedule is grueling. So this level of exhaustion, it's kind of like you have to get used to it, and you have to pace yourself and try to make like some things are more valuable. You have to like compartmentalize your time and give everything its proper time, and this way you will not feel overwhelmed. Some of the feeling that you're overwhelmed and everything is piling on you is you don't know what's more important than the other thing. The sense of I don't know what thing will get me in. So if you have a plan, this takes a lot of the stress off it, and learn to compartmentalize and plan.
and Dr. Chai, what do you say?
Oh, what was the question? Sorry again.
So how do you deal with exhaustion? Like step 1, step 2, research, interviews, that's a lot going on. What do you have to say about that?
Everything is experience, and if you take like those are your opportunity to grow, I think you can manage everything. Yeah, I think most important thing is to become a doctor is not to become a doctor, but you have to learn through the whole experience, and you should be the better person and better you have to focus on those, and you have to enjoy what you are doing. If you're like really painful and just to be a doctor is only your goal, your journey is miserable. But if you really enjoy and you want to be grow through this experience, I think you'll be okay. Yeah.
So in closing, I just want to encourage you all and tell you that there is hope, that you should not give up. As you've seen with Dr. Chai, Dr. Yera, and Dr. Elzakaki, who have each had their own struggles and their own journeys, they all have one thing in common. They did not give up, they persevered, and they all worked very, very hard to get where they are today. And they all obviously also worked with us, and we were able to help put them in positions and pathways where they were able to prove themselves and ended up, you know, now to be physicians and residents. And we're very excited for you. And I just want to tell everyone to try your best to stay relevant, be strategic about what you do, and reach out to us. We're here to help you. We give free consultations just to give you guidance and information. So I'm here every day talking to medical graduates and medical students, and I'm happy to speak to you. And we wish you all the best. And PostMatch is not over. PostMatch goes up until September. So there is still a lot happening on our side, and there still is a lot to work on and to do, and just make sure that you are prepared for next year. And you, in order to be successful, you have to make a change, right? If you're doing the same thing you did last year, don't expect different results. And thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. And I look forward to speaking to hopefully some of you soon. And thank you, Dr. Elzakaki, Dr. Chai, and Dr. Yera had to get going. But have a great evening, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, you guys.
Bye.